Okay, so as you can see on the screen, this is the bouncing ball animation. It's part of a 51 exercise for animators that I found on this website blog thing. I'll leave the link somewhere on the screen, hopefully, but definitely down in the description below. This is as it appears to be, just a bouncing ball hitting the floor and then bouncing across the screen. And I enacted the 12 Principles of Animation, which is a video that I came across, oh, I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, but I mean, it keeps popping up on my timeline anyway because it's something I'll keep going back to refer. I will leave that link also in the description below. It's on a channel called Alan Becker Tutorials. They've got a bunch of good videos. Go check them out. So the 5 that I used are squash and stretch, straight ahead slash pose to pose, slow in and slow out, arcs, and timing. So the first one is squash and stretch. It's to add appeal to a movement and to exaggerate it. It also gives it some weight. So like what I did with mine, because I didn't want it to be like a bowling ball and I wanted to add some character to this and to learn how to animate. So I wanted to add the squash and stretch, but so it's more like a dodgeball, I suppose you could say. When it hits the ground, it squashes, stretches out. And to keep the volume, I thinned it from the top, and then I also stretched it out on the sides. So it doesn't get smaller. It just squashes. And then I have it stretched out to go back up, and I did the same thing. I kept the volume. When I squashed it once on one side, I stretched it on the other so it would keep its volume, keep its size. I don't know where I was going with that. The second one was straight ahead and pose to pose. Now, straight ahead is something I don't like to use unless it's for like fire, smoke, or water. It's exactly as it sounds. It's drawing each frame one right after the other. So if you numbered all these, like this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you just keep drawing as you go throughout the entire action until you eventually end at the end. Pose to pose is what I prefer to use for anything that's not wild and erratic, like fire, smoke, water, etc. Because the pose to pose is taking the very start of the action, the very end of the action, and then working in between. How I use pose to pose on this was I drew the first frame here so I knew where the ball was going to fall, down here where it would hit the ground, up at the apex of this arc as it's bouncing, and then when it hits the ground again, up in the air when it's bouncing, grounds, off screen. And then I just drew in between until I got what I liked. Okay, then the third one, slow in and slow out. Like you start off an action slowly, build up the speed, and then as it comes to a stop, it slows down. And they're closer up at the top as it comes into frame. And then I spread them out when they start getting closer to the ground so it can make more of an impact as it hits the ground. But then it jumps here because at the very beginning it's going to have more of an oomph as it uses the momentum from before to get out. But especially when it gets up to this arc and it's bouncing, there's going to be more because the gravity is trying to pull it back down to the ground. So I added more in-betweens here before it starts gaining up some more speed to hit the ground again. And then I added some more frames here since the second bounce is going to be a little slower, softer, and not go up as high. More frames up at the apex of the bounce, and then that third one just takes it right off the screen. And arcs. I talked about it just a little bit already because of the bouncing here. It goes in an arc instead of straight up, straight down. It just gives it some more life, a smoother animation. It's more realistic to move an arc. I mean, even when you're like walking, your body moves in an arc, not straight like a robot. And a ball is the same way. It just moves in arcs. Can't really go into much detail with that. I mean, it is what it is. And timing is the last final one that I use. The number of frames between two poses and how they are placed, which I actually kind of talked about a little bit in the slow in and slow out. Like I said, I animated this on twos where it's one picture is 2 frames long. And that's just because it worked better for me. It looked nicer, cleaner, smoother, because I tried to mix them up and see, but this worked so much better. You can do on ones where it's literally just one drawing per frame instead of it holding for 2 like I have here. But for me, like it glitches, it's jittery, it's not as smooth. I don't personally, unless it's a really fast movement, I never use the ones. All right, I mean, that's it. That's all I've got. I'm not much of a teacher, sorry, but I just wanted to share this in more than just a image of a random bouncing ball on my channel. And there's gonna be a ton more of these animation exercises so I can learn. And if you want to use these as references, go right on ahead. I hope you guys can get some use out of them. And that's all. I'll shut up and let you have a good day. Bye.